You don't have an empty nest, so
No.
you're still busy.
Yeah.
It's now 6 o'clock on June 18th. Go ahead and ready to start the meeting. All of this.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, hold on a minute. Give me 1 second. Froncel Burns.
Here.
Camry Tharp.
Here.
Casey Whittle.
Here.
Cassie Hollenshed.
Here.
Jonathan Bush. We have a quorum.
Next up, we have the approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to? Any discussion? If not, we would take a motion to have the minutes for April 28th approved. I'll move to approve. A second. All right, have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for April 28th, 2025. Next up will be discussion discussion and consideration and action that thanks to the city of Whitehouse on father.
I'll turn over to Gary, I think.
Okay.
Well, as we were just talking, the more I was, I should have called you, we've been thinking the same thoughts, that the majority of the words, really all the words that you're taking out of the charter pages aren't substantive changes, don't require Texas law or your charter of the council. And so there, for instance, there's 5 articles in the current charter that won't be in the next one. You mentioned one on here, Article 9, that relating to planning, zoning, development. Those are, there's wording in there that the council can re-adopt by ordinance if they want to, and I think that'd be a good idea. But even if you don't re-adopt those by ordinance, state law already now says you councils don't have a master plan. So I don't even view that as a substantive change, because you were stating in your charter that the city council has the power to do this, but you're stating it in the charter that state law says your city. But you've already said in the beginning of the new charter that you want to be a home rule city, and your charter all along said you have all the authority and powers that a Texas home rule city has. As we talked about a lot in the last couple of months, the legislature keeps kind of tinkering with your home rule city powers, but you still have it. And so I agree that this short list is really the things that are going to require the charter election. But we might want to add a couple more on there, but it just depends on how you want to explain to the city council the exercise of their authority to shorten by removing all duplications necessary.
So you're saying that what's on this is what we would vote on, or we would not have to vote on this?
No, this one is it's first draft of saying what the citizens would need to vote on.
Okay.
And I'm saying, I think that removal of Article 9, I think that I can talk with the staff about that. I'm not sure that one would actually public. But at the same time, I think that it's a good idea if you're in the city council that they adopt ordinances that put into your code references to, yes, we want a master plan. Yes, we're going to continue doing so. Here's our. But you don't, in order to have the council adopt an ordinance saying that, you don't need the public to vote on that and authorize you. You have that authority now. And that's a separate authority from the specific one in the charter. In addition to the one in the charter that says you can reorganize or update as long as you don't change it. So as y'all now know, I think the task with the council and the public will be in staff coming up with some wording or documents that explain to the public how much duplication was in there and how it's all the things that were said, we just don't need to say them 3 times. We need to say it once. And the process you went through is the process the council would need to go through. And that is, in effect, they look at reorganizing the charter. They take all the related paragraphs and sentences that relate to the same topic and move them all together onto the same page. And then if you're saying it 4 times, just pick the best one, the shortest one, or the one that you think's the most informative. Well, and then if you do that and you take out the others, you haven't made a substantive change. It's just shorter. It's just easier for people to read it and understand.
Well, council received the before and after.
Yeah, so I think the goal is, and Leslie, correct me if I'm wrong, but to, after this meeting, and depending on what recommendations you guys make, is to get the council a copy of the updated charter, the original charter, and some notes on what the changes, what the main changes were to the charter, so that they have some time to look through it before the council meeting. So I think as soon as we can get your guys' recommendation here, we can go ahead and get that over to the council. I know it's a lot of information to absorb between when it's posted to, so I think I try to send it out a little bit early so you guys have some time to review it. But yeah.
You don't have any questions? Feedback?
So this list that I put this list together based off of all of your guys' meetings and the consensus you guys came to on changes that you guys thought would make the charter either stronger or fit more with how we actually operate things, whatever it may be. But these are the main changes that you guys took note of in your meetings throughout the entire time, or throughout the entire process. So if you guys have any questions about any of these, we can go back over what they were, where they are. Or even if you have any questions about maybe something that you saw in the final documents that we sent over.
Comments, concerns? You don't like? You want?
I feel like last meeting we talked a lot about kind of the reasoning behind some of the decisions that we discussed this whole thing. I feel like it's good to see, like, it was good to get the email and it's also have this on paper to see like what it will be. I guess my question is, maybe I missed this when I walked in, whenever we put this to the voter or like give it to the people, we'll list out the things that were changed and then give like a PDF document or something of this to them, or do they get, how do the voters get to see this?
Or the one before, like, do they get to compare? It was this, but now it's this.
Yes, so we'll make that available for sure. I think that's wise to do. We will be putting out from the time the council orders the election to the time early voting begins and even up until election day, we will need to be putting out information that tells the story of why these things are important. We have to do it in a factual way. We can't advocate one way or the other, but we can say, you know, the Charter Commission and the City Council are recommending making the city secretary an appointed staff position directly by the City Council to allow for additional oversight, you know, some of those kind of things. We'll have to be sure to put that messaging out, but we will also put regular straight documents out for people to read and interpret in their own points as well.
Do you imagine like a highlight reel type thing for making changes that
Yes.
providing?
Yeah, I think and Gary and I haven't talked about this, but my recommendation would be that your first recommendation to the city council is to recommend that the city council move forward with non-substantive changes as allowed by the Home Rule Charter and state law to include the removal of duplication, the removal of conflicts and references to state law, reorganize the sections for the flow of the document, and any sections that you feel should be codified in the city's code of ordinances, particularly boards and commissions.
Yes.
And the city council should do that prior to ordering the election. So the council could do that if, yes, assuming they're comfortable with that. They do that first, so that then becomes the new charter. So the only changes from that charter to what we're asking of the voters are the substantive changes that are listed here. I think for understanding, comprehension, ease of use, I think that would be an important piece if the council's comfortable and you as the commissioner. I think that's the best story to tell. And it just makes it a whole lot easier for the citizens to read 5 articles as opposed to 11, and when half of them don't apply. And then trying to explain why it's marked out, but that's not coming before the voters gets
Right.
incredibly murky, in my opinion. Does that make sense?
Or to explain each terms of that without like cutting anything that meant something.
Yeah, we think these are important to bring to you, but none of this is, don't pay any attention
don't
to
look over
this over here, right? Yeah, that's a good way to destroy public trust.
So, well, and yes,
And then if they fail, you still have a
You still-
fairly
still have-
clean charter document.
and one way to do it's at the city council, if that's what you recommended and council's comfortable with, yeah. Well, then in effect, you at a time in the future, when everybody's had plenty of time to sit, the council would get an ordinance prepared by staff, and I can help with that ordinance would look like that draft number 7. It's the old charter. It's got all the wording in it, and where the new wording's in it, it's underlined, and where all the deletions, they're lined through. But you have that one as the explanation document. And then from that one, you go to, put it into Whitehouse ordinance form, and you actually show everything you're doing to the chart. So that you have this long document, it would be over 50 pages, 60 pages long. But it literally shows that old charter, because you've now taken the charter and you're putting it into the form of an ordinance, because the council is using their authority to adopt an ordinance. When they adopt this ordinance, the result is you're going to have an ordinance in your code book that says they updated the charter. You're not going to have this 50-page thing, but then you'll have a new city charter. But that new city charter will still have all of these things in it. And so they'll be in there, but they'll be lined through. So the council's being asked to adopt an ordinance saying, we want to do all of this, and at the same time, we are showing you where in the charter we want the voters to consider changing. And then council works through that process, and then when you get to the actual charter amendment, each one of these statements, after you've sent out the information that explains it, each actual change would have to be a ballot proposition. Vote yes or no, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Okay.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so there's several documents, a lot of work for the staff and the council to get there, but those are the steps here. And you have all the drafts of those documents. It's just the next step would be turning these drafts into an ordinance that the city council consider. And then if they do that and they vote on it, then they have the revised, update city chart. And you want to give people enough time to look at that and read it and verify, yeah, they haven't changed it. Thank you. You've made it a whole lot shorter. I can see where you took out, gee, we really did say that 4 times. And you've taken. But we still have these questions that we think the voters do have to vote on that. But you and then hopefully the council will recommend. But as you've all said, this is a manageable election sheet and 40 pages. I don't know how to talk.
No.
Voters, the whole voters. Unless they sit through all of it,
Exactly.
which they're not.
They're not.
But that's why I have.
So do y'all need two motions from us, like one to recommend the non-substantive changes to council, and then another one recommending these changes, or how do you want?
Either way, I think you can do it as one motion or you can do it as two. One question I just thought of though, we had some discussion about whether or not our municipal judge should be an attorney. So they,
So because I realized I was creating an issue. And so the wording now is the same as it is. So the next time the city council wants to appoint a municipal judge, you can always recommend, and they can appoint a lawyer. Or they can appoint someone who's not a lawyer, but they're comfortable.
Okay.
Like, for instance, retired JP. So while I think you're a large enough city that a municipal judge should be a lawyer, I don't want to put that to the voters to vote. I think I'm comfortable with the council that they want to do whenever they.
so to answer your question,
I can do one motion or two motions.
yes.
So I'll move that we recommend to the city council for review the non-substantive changes for review and adoption, and then the substantive changes to go to election at a later date.
We have a motion.
Second.
And then all those in favor? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All in favor? Right, so now what's next?
Yeah. So we have a lot of work to do between now and Friday.
Especially once we're off.
No, it's good.
Is that good or bad?
No, it's fine. We'll need to think through the timing maybe on how we take these next steps before the council, in a way that makes sense and that you all as a council have time to then digest these changes, and how we present that and whether or not we can get it to them before Friday. Stephanie says we can.
So it'll be presented then in July at that meeting?
We need to talk about it because we have some deadlines to order the election to get it on a November ballot, which are coming up quickly. And so we probably need to get with Gary and figure out, is that a now thing or is that something we may look at a later ballot date? I don't know that any of these are particularly time sensitive. So if we push it to a later election date, I don't have any concerns. What are your thoughts on that as the review commission? Do you have any concerns if we cannot get it done by the November ballot?
My only question is, when does the next city council election happen?
Happens in November, but the
So there are
deadline,
changes here that city council.
right? So the only thing, and Stephanie kind of highlighted it here, that we have heard from some council members is, or the question has been raised, whether or not there will be changes to the we do not have anyone that terms off this.
I think it's just.
We would have some that would term it off in November 2026. So if the election gets pushed to November 2026, they would not be eligible to refile. But your recommendation is not to make changes to the term limits. So the council would have to override that recommendation from you all and then move forward with putting it on the ballot. Gary, if we have November elections, are they able to call an election in May if we've already moved our general election date to November? Okay. It's not even for a special election, you can hold a special municipal election in May.
I could research that, but I don't think so. And you don't want to, you don't want to give somebody that might something hard. These are all good changes. Takes a little bit longer, but
The question may come up, I'm not trying to advocate for it, I just think it may. I'd like to give an answer if the question is raised. Okay, if we can't get it on for this election, when is our next opportunity? Whether we invite it to be in May or not, I wanna know the factual answer. But it's up to the council.
So at this point, we will just wait to hear from you and Stephanie on our next.
Yeah, I think our plan will be to go ahead and move forward with some sort of presentation on Tuesday. We want to at least review what all your recommendation has been tonight. And I don't anticipate that they'll take action because they won't be getting this until Friday, they being the council. That's a pretty quick turnaround to understand the difference between the substantive and non-substantive. And I don't know that we're going to have a good written explanation prepared for the council to get out to them by Friday. I know we won't. But I do think we need to present it, get it in front of them, start talking about it. By Tuesday, we'll be able to at least speak to the substantive and non-substantive changes, kind of what we anticipate the path forward being, understanding and knowing the council the way we do, and kind of start working towards laying out that timeline for them. So it's an important document, and I don't want them voting on it the first time they see it. So.
Yeah. I like
So that'll be our plan to move forward. That sounds fair enough. Okay.
this is a lot of work. Y'all, new charter.
I'm excited.
Once you start, for the newest council member to come on, they could actually read the whole thing
And probably.
and, well, and staff and citizens with.
Gary, you were so great at explaining it.
Yes,
I mean, truly,
thank you.
very good at layman's terms for me.
That's always been my goal, even as a law.
Yeah, you made the process very easy, so thank you.
Well, we appreciate your time. We know it's dry, kind of tedious work, so y'all seemed interested in it the whole way through, which is shocking. I loved it. So,
Yes.
thank you for that.
Y'all are very good. This is probably my best experience. with City charter.
Great
Even with
question.
cities I've been with a long time. This-
We'll keep you posted, I guess, as we kind of move through it to make sure you all are aware of it. If you want to come to the meeting on Tuesday, I encourage you to answer council has questions, or if you just kind of want to talk about your experience. That's always great too. They'd like to hear from people that actually did the hard work and not those of us that just showed up this week. Need to be you, so
I cannot
I know
go,
you can't.
but
Yeah, but of course, Councilman Burns will be
Yeah.
there Tuesday, so
I just want to go. I've never been to a city council.
yeah. This one should be, this will be great, yeah. It's gonna get some good stuff on it.
Thank y'all for hanging in there with us and
Yeah.
when we didn't understand, making us understand.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
They were gonna.
All of you.
We enjoy it. I do. I don't want to speak for the rest of them, but. No, I do. Well, thanks. I didn't realize this was gonna be such a short meeting,
Yeah.
so, but we appreciate y'all getting us across the finish line with the recommendation, so.
Second.
A motion and a second. Meeting adjourned at 6:24.
Thank you.